Hey, LarkenRose here. For many years now, there have been lots and lots of Democrats and liberals complaining until they're blue in the face about all the horrible things that Trump is doing and condemning how he's just throwing due process out the window, doesn't care about the Constitution. He's like locking people up and just deporting people for the fun of it. He's acting like a tyrant and he's acting like a control freak. He doesn't really care what the people want. He doesn't really care what the law says. He doesn't really care what the Constitution says. He's a power-happy tyrant. And lots of Democrats are out there rightfully condemning that and protesting against that and pointing out how wrong it is. And they are absolutely right that Trump is an out-of-control, power-happy psycho. But I do want to add this when responding to Democrats who complain about that. Shut the hell up, you hypocritical pieces of crap. If you're a Democrat, when Obama was doing all of these things, what did you say about it? When Biden was doing all of these things, what did you say about it? Yeah, Trump's doing a bunch of evil stuff, and he's more out loud obnoxious about his narcissism and his megalomania. But he isn't the first to do any of this, really. Under Obama and Bush and Biden and going back forever and Clinton, the forced evictions, the forced deportations and locking people up and ruining people's family because the people didn't have the permission of the ruling class to be in the country, that was already happening to huge numbers of people. Did you care back then? Or do you only care when your party says, now we're supposed to care because it's the other guy? If you're a Democrat, that means you're still wearing the label that describes the party who did the same freaking thing. So by comparison, if members of the Communist Party in Germany were complaining about how horrible the Third Reich is and how nasty those Nazis are, yeah, you're right. Also, you subscribe to the same stupid, centralized, collectivist, authoritarian crap they do, just a very slightly different flavor. So maybe shut the hell up until you get your own house in order. Because if you're a Democrat and you supported what Biden did with the warmongering and the murdering people and Obama's deciding that the president can just decide to murder somebody, including a U.S. citizen, without trial, because we'll call them an enemy combatant and then we'll just kill them. Obama did that. Now, he wasn't the only one. He did it more openly than most. A lot of this stuff is done sort of in secret until the psychos in power, left and right, think they can get away with doing it right out in the open. And then they come out and say, now we're going to do this. And they describe something they've been doing the whole time illegally and clandestinely. I'll pretend that was a word. But to all those liberals just losing their crap about Trump, the lack of self-awareness is just astonishing. You cheered for this. You cheered for the violence of the state to be used for all sorts of things. Forced redistribution of wealth. And it's a running joke now. It's a meme, but it's a meme in both directions. That when Trump does something that's exactly like what your guy did before, now it's bad because reasons. Meanwhile, the Republicans say, no, now it's good because reasons, even though they condemned it when your guy did it. Here's the punchline, Mr. and Mrs. Democrat. You are the Republicans. You're exactly the same as they are. Both of you cheer for authoritarian control freaks who do warmongering and who use the violence of the state, control people and rob people and redistribute things and buy loyalty of people by handing out free goodies. You just complain about it when the other side does it. And when your side does the exact same frickin' thing, you make excuses for it. You are the Republicans. So Democrats out there loudly condemning Trump, you are Trump. Loudly condemning those Republicans. How could they be so heartless as to divide families? Your guy did that. and lock people up and kidnap all these people. Your guy did that. And they're murdering civilians on the other side of the... Yeah, your guy did that. And you should condemn it. But here's the thing. You should have condemned it when your guy was doing it. And if you actually believed in justice and truth and morality, that wouldn't have been your guy. You would have said, I don't want any part of any of this. I'm not going to cheer for a power-happy mass murderer because he has a D in parentheses after his name, any more than I'd cheer for a power-happy mass murderer because he has an R in parentheses after his name. So this goes both ways. Republicans complaining about Democrats, shut the hell up. You make excuses for everything Trump does that matches what the Democrats do, because Trump is a New York liberal and always was and barely even hit it. You did it too. You are them. And it's so bizarre to watch these huge groups of people just frothing at the mouth with hatred at the other group and not recognizing you're just looking at your own reflection in a mirror. That's you. You make excuses for evil. You make excuses for authoritarian violence. None of you gives a crap about democracy. You want your will forced on the rest of the world by way of government. That's what you want. Democrat, Republican, anybody who votes for a government, that is what you want. You make excuses when the warmongering and murder and authoritarian fascist lunacy is something you believe in and you support. Then principles are out the window. Morality, all this like bodily autonomy, like Democrats, you don't give a crap about that. You will use that phrase when you're talking about abortion. But when suddenly you're so stupid you fall for Big Pharma's fear tactics, and now you're out there hating everybody who doesn't wear a mask and doesn't get injected with an unnecessary experimental, just horrendously toxic pile of crap. Nope, bodily autonomy is out the window because you never believed in that. And you'll say, well, if it saves one life, we want to violently disarm a bunch of people. Well, it won't save one life. But the other way around, if it's something else that some authoritarian crap you cheer for, you don't give a crap about saving anybody's life. Where were you when Obama and Clinton and Biden, and going back, however far your lifetime goes back through all of my lifetime, power-happy psychos pushing authoritarian bullshit, enriching and empowering themselves and their buddies at the expense of everybody else's freedom and prosperity and health and happiness and the rest of it. You're cheering for that. If you're a Democrat or a Republican, you're cheering for it. And the most bizarre thing is that if you're a Democrat, you think Trump is the exact opposite. He's everything that you're against. He's also everything that you're for. He just doesn't have the right letter after his name, or you'd be making excuses for it. Even when it comes down to individual corruption, like Hunter Biden, holy crap, like could corruption be more obvious and in your face and undeniable? Were you condemning that? The way you condemn it when Trump does this self-serving crap? Accepts a $400 million plane from Qatar? And sure enough, all the liberals are, this is horrible, how could you do this? You mean like exactly what Hillary did and what the Democrats do? But this is the problem. You think, as I pointed out in a recent video, you think that your guy represents you or gives a shit about you. He doesn't. Republicans, Trump doesn't give a crap about you. He views you as livestock. Liberals, your party doesn't give a crap about you. They view you as livestock, and they treat you as livestock. And both sets of puppets know that they can keep you so focused on hating the other guy and fearing the other guy, and it's gonna be a dystopian nightmare if he's allowed to be in power. You ignore the fact that your guy did the exact same thing. He might have talked a little bit differently. He might have said he was going to do different things, but in the end, he didn't. By the way, Republicans, you know how Trump talked about the Doge? We're finding the waste, we're cutting out. Federal spending went up. After that whole stupid show with Elon Musk, federal spending went up. So you can be all upset, those Democrats are doing all this corrupt stuff, and they're being so wasteful, and they're blah, 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 and Elon is bringing it to light and showing us the fraud and blah, 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 blah. And then your guy voted to increase his big, beautiful bill, an enormous amount of stolen loot that we're just handing out to people to buy people's loyalty, because that's what we do, and you gotta do it. And you voters, you're too freaking stupid to even notice. You're gonna support me anyway when I do exactly what the left does, because you're fucking stupid. That is how Trump views you. And Democrats, that is how your politicians view you. You're all just imbeciles complaining about the other side while cheering for the exact same thing. So when a Democrat comes out and says this is horrible and a violation of due process to lock somebody up just because somebody said he was an illegal alien, you have to have due process. When did you believe in that before? Never. When Obama was literally saying, we need to be able to president needs to be able to just kill somebody, just outright order the murder of a human being, including a U.S. citizen, if we stick the label of enemy combatant on them. And detaining people and torturing people, openly torturing people. That happened under Bush. It happened under Obama. It happened under Clinton. It happened under Trump. It happened under Biden. It was reported more often in some years than others, mainly because the legacy media leans heavily left. It was happening the whole time. And when your guy was in power, were you looking into it? Were you objecting to it? Were you protesting it? No, because if you had any principles, you wouldn't view them as your guy or your party. You would view them as one more set of psychopathic crooks who are victimizing humanity while pretending to represent you. Instead, you make excuses for it. And same thing with police abuse and everything under the sun. We just want reasonable gun control. Okay, you mean like Waco? Like the prolonged torture and then murder of a bunch of men, women, and children and babies? Is that the kind of gun control, reasonable gun control you want? Yeah, you don't give a shit. Because when what you say you wanted was put into real life by way of authoritarian power, because Clinton was in office for that mass murder, Janet Reno, that frickin' psychopath, you were making excuses, weren't you? Chucky Schumer, that piece of shit, in the hearings was just lying about all sorts of stuff to make excuses for prolonged torture and terrorism and murder used against Americans. One of whom was accused of having had a piece of metal that could be used to convert one piece of metal into a different piece of metal. That was the charge. Not murder, not threatening. The other 80, almost 90 people who died, they weren't charged with anything. Until there was a standoff, and then they decided, well, while we're having this siege and torturing them all night, we might as well charge them with a few things. We'll charge them with obstruction because you didn't let this army of psychotic murderers into your home. So now we'll pretend that's a crime too. Clinton was in the White House when that happened. What did you do about it? What did you say about it? What do you say about it now? Do you point out the evils of Waco and Ruby Ridge? Or not, because it happened under Clinton? And the evil warmongering and murdering going on overseas under Obama, do you condemn that? Because if you're actually consistent, you're not going to be a Democrat and you're not going to be a Republican. In fact, if you're actually consistent and you actually believe in bodily autonomy and individual freedom and are actually against authoritarian fascist lunacy, you'll be a voluntarist. And you'll recognize both sets of puppets as just agents of evil, because that's what they are. It's what the Democrat Party is. It's what the Republican Party is. But as long as you're bashing one side and making excuses for the exact same thing when your side does it, which every Trump supporter is doing, every single one. If you're still supporting Trump, you are absolutely making excuses for authoritarian, unconstitutional, socialist bullshit on a daily basis. It's not even hidden anymore. I mean, it was never hidden very well. Trump was pretty open about his megalomania from the beginning. If you still support him, you don't give a shit about the Constitution. You're not against socialism. You're not against the Democrats. You just view that gang as the other gang that we don't like because it's the other gang. And Republicans are the gang that we do like. And watching people be that easy to manipulate, where all of you, every single one of you, every single Democrat, every single Republican is cheering for evil and then coming out and righteously objecting and protesting the injustice. Shut the hell up. The other side is just doing what your side does too. You're not against it. What you're against is feeling like you didn't get your choice of slave master to run the plantation. So you're mad at the other slave master. It's not because you believe in freedom. It's not because you're against slavery. It's because you want to feel like you're a part of the gang that's in power. And when you are, you don't give a shit what they do. Democrat or Republican, you have no morals. You have no principles. You don't give a crap about the Constitution or due process or anything of the sort. So yeah, lots and lots of criticisms that Democrats can accurately and rightfully throw at Trump that totally apply and are worth condemning are 100% hypocritical coming from Democrats, because you did the same damn thing. And the exact same thing of the Republicans condemning the Democrats for their corruption and their tax and spend. Trump is the biggest tax and spend president in history, literally. So I try to look on the bright side. If you have in you a thing that can actually be righteously enraged at injustice, okay, good. So far, so good. There's the potential for you to be a decent human being. If you ignore that when your guy is in power, you're not a decent human being. You're a hypocritical, lying piece of crap. When you come out and criticize both sides when they do evil things, both sides, eventually you come to realize there aren't sides. They're putting on a show. There's one ruling class, and it's duped you into thinking that if you get to pick your own master, somehow that means you're in charge and you consented. And that counts as being free if you get to choose which tyrannical slave master will treat you like crap. That's as good as being free, right? No, it isn't. But there you are with the political bullshit you were taught, Democrat or Republican, and there you are with good intentions, somewhere down in there, that actually get outraged at bad stuff going on. Oh, look at this evil going on over here. Okay, when it's done by an ally of the U.S., when the Israeli government is committing terrorism and mass murder constantly, like really openly, do you condemn it? Or no, they're our buddies, so that's anti-Semitic to point out when they do, just when they're just terrorists and murderers on a regular basis. No, we're not going to do that. You need to decide, where does your loyalty lie? Is it with your gang, your party, your government, your country, your allies? Or is it actually with moral principles and truth and justice and all that fun stuff? Everybody pretends it's the latter. All the Republicans and all the Democrats pretend that they care about right and wrong and justice and protecting the innocent. None of them do. None of them do. 0 Republicans and 0 Democrats actually want to protect the innocent as a principle. They'll pretend they want to protect the innocent when it's the other side doing the evil crap. But when theirs is, they make excuses for it. So there you are in your own head. You don't answer to me. You don't have to care what I think. You better choose your loyalty. Is it to truth and freedom and justice and protecting the innocent? Because if so, you can't be a Democrat. And you can't be a Republican. And you can't be a statist. You can't advocate government and be in favor of freedom or truth or justice or anything of the sort. You can't be. They're incompatible. So the question is, do you care enough about justice to back up, to make sure that your actually on the right side. Because if you're on this side or if you're on that side, you're on the wrong side. If you're on either political side, you're on the wrong side, because the sides that matter are not left and right or Democrat or Republican. It's people who advocate the violent subjugation of their fellow man, which is everyone who believes in government. And the other side is people who don't, voluntarists. People who don't believe in masters and they don't believe in slaves. They believe in individual sovereignty, non-aggression principle, self-ownership, however you want to describe it. So, while you're being all righteously enraged at Trump or anybody else or the left or whatever, actually sort out your own crap and make sure you're on the right side, if you care. Or you could just stop pretending to care and just say, well, this is my gang, so I like it, and I don't give a crap what they do, but I hate your gang, so I'm going to condemn anything they do. You can come out and admit that, if that's what you are. But if what you are is somebody who actually cares about right and wrong and justice, oh, looky here. You should probably read The Most Dangerous Superstition, or look into voluntarism, or there's a bunch of different ways you can look it up without having to pay a whole $16 for a book. But you need to sort out where your loyalties lie. Because if your loyalties lie with political anything, you are and will be an enemy of humanity until that changes.